am in a different location, not in Los Angeles at the moment, but headed back shortly. So I have resting right here as a piano, so it's going to be a little different today. So the way things are structured is that we're going to do some ear training today. And if you don't know what ear training is like I'll play a note or I'll play a chord and you'll try to repeat back what's happening. Now, the benefit of this, where we're going with this whole thing, is that eventually I want you to be able to hear a song, either on the radio or Spotify or Tidal or whatever, and you'll be able to be like, oh, I know how to play that back, or I'll know how to play that back on the guitar, right? So that's where we're going with all this. And I want to just tell you a little story about where I came from. So when growing up, I thought it was like a miracle when somebody would be able to like hear a song and be able to play it back. I thought that was like a complete, total, it was like witchcraft, it was like miraculous. So I thought, I was like, wow, like one of the songs that I really, really wanted to learn, and I know we got some people coming in, so I'm just telling a quick story about my experience as in like ear training. So growing up, I thought it was like, wow, this is amazing. How can somebody just hear a song and play it back? And there was a specific song by Third Eye Blind when I was a kid I wanted to learn, and I had no idea what the chords were. My guitar teacher, he took it home and came back, and he was able to transcribe this song just by ear. And I thought, wow, that's like a miracle. How do they do that? How does he do that? And really the chords were just like G, C, D, kind of simplistic chords realistically. And I thought, wow, if I can do that, like this, I'll be so happy. Fast forward some years later, a decade later, maybe decades later, and I am able to play whatever I hear. And this is not for me to say, oh, like I'm showing off here. This is really a testimony that like, wow, I wasn't able to distinguish a G chord or a C chord or a D chord, and now I'm able to hear all this harmony and play it back. So it's one of those things that can be learned. This can be taught. It's not something you have to be born with. It's not something that you're just, innately God-given. Some people are, but most people have to learn this stuff, and it's a skill, and it's a skill you can learn. So all that to be said, we're gonna do some ear training today. I have a piano. This iPhone is resting on a piano right now. And I'm going to be playing notes, playing chords, some chord progressions, and I'm really, really going to be asking you guys to have your guitar in hand and identify what's happening, what notes I'm playing, what chords I'm playing, what chord progressions I'm playing. Am I playing a dominant chord? Am I playing a major chord? And where we're going with all this is that at the end of the day, I want you to be able to hear a song on the radio or Spotify and be able to play the chords back, without even thinking. Again, this is a skill that's developed over time. It is not innate. It's not God-given. And, my story is just that. Like I learned how to do all this. And so now I'm here teaching everyone how to have better ears. And ear training, this is kind of like teaching somebody how to fish rather than giving them a fish. So rather than showing you how to play a song, song X, Y, or Z, I'm showing you how to identify chords and progressions that will be very, very useful. So if you have your guitar in hand, that's going to be the requirement for today's live stream, is having a guitar in hand. I'm going to start off just playing some notes. Okay, I'm just going to start off playing some notes, and I'm going to have you guys identify what note it is. So that's going to be the test. Okay, so I am going to play a note. You're going to try to repeat it back to me. If you're not sure what note it is, you could just say, oh, this is G string 3rd fret, or D string 5th fret, if you're unsure of the exact note name. But again, we're trying to match pitches. I am on a piano today because clearly I'm not in the same space I'm normally at. So let's just go ahead. I know we don't have a ton of people here on the live stream yet, but usually it grows and grows. So I'm going to play this note, and and you're gonna let me know what note that is. And this is starting off simple. Let me know what note this is. And right now we don't have a ton of people here, so maybe this, but as more people join, it'll be a little more interactive. So again, yeah, Sonia, you're right. You got a G. All right, what else do we have? I'm going to play another note, and you are going to identify this note. So I'm going to play that note one more time. And if you guys are just joining, we are doing some ear training today. And ear training is really, really great. The end result is you basically hear a song on the radio or Spotify, and you're able to play the chords, the notes, the solo, everything. And again, this is a skill that is taught. I was not born with this kind of skill. I couldn't even identify any notes or chords when I started off. Now I'm able to do all this, the skill I developed over time. And so this is something that I'm coming on here, and we're gonna learn together. Sonia, B flat is correct. All right. So I'm gonna do a chord now. I want you to tell me if it is major, minor, or dominant. All right. So let me tell you the differences. So major sounds like this, or like a major chord has that sound. A minor has this sound, and a dominant has this sound. Okay, so those are the three options. I want you to tell me if this chord is major, minor, or dominant. All right? Let me know if that is a major chord, a minor chord, or a dominant chord. Bonus if you can actually tell me what chord it is. You know, is it a G flat major chord or a D flat minor chord? But really, I'm trying to get you to identify and hear the differences between major, minor, and dominant. So Sonia said, yep, it's a major chord. So if you guys are just joining me, you're definitely going to want to have a guitar in hand. All right, here is another chord I'm going to give you. Is this a major chord, a minor chord, or a dominant chord? Major, minor, or dominant? You can let me know in the comments section or the chat section what chord this is. Again, we're building up skills. We're building up these muscles to be able to identify complex chords, complex chord progressions. And we're teaching you how to fish rather than just giving you a bunch of fish and say, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Sonia says major question mark. Okay, so let's figure out what that question mark is. So when I'm listening for a major, minor, or dominant, things I'm listening for, things I'm trying to identify is the root. In our case, it'll always be the lowest note. So I'm going to just play this chord again. Okay, so I have the root. Okay. Now, what's happening above it? What note is that? Can you tell me what note that is? Yeah, if you guys are just joining the chat, we are doing ear training. If you're just joining the live show, okay, A flat, correct. Now, I want you to try to match these three chords. Play an A flat major bar chord, play an A flat minor bar chord, or play an A flat dominant 7-bar chord. And tell me which sounds like, as I play a chord and you play a chord, tell me which sounds like they go together like this. And this is really, really helpful to have a guitar in hand. And again, I'm not really going into theory right now. I'm just trying to match sounds. We're trying to match different sounds. I'm trying to avoid theory and just really, really go on which sounds line up. So again, you're going to play an A flat as the root. We're going to play a bar chord. Is it going to be a major chord, a minor chord, or a dominant chord? Now, what do you guys think this chord is? I can wait. I know we got a couple other people here, so I don't want to just be Insania answering these questions. Okay? So you're saying it's definitely not major, it sounds minor. Okay, so let's try to break it up a little more because we want you to be sure what it is. Okay, so when I'm listening to these sounds, if you're playing the chord and it's not matching up and it's not lining up, because normally when things line up, like especially if you have an acoustic guitar, you'll feel like a vibration in your chest and there'll be like discord or dissonance when it's not lining up. And when it does line up, there's a sense of harmony. So look for that at first. Now, if you're still confused and you want a more concrete, less feel-based way to identify chords, again, I try to identify chords based on major, minor, or dominant. So in this case, a major chord would sound like this. A minor chord sounds like this. For Elise, kind of, that kind of sound, a little somber. And a dominant chord is just like a major chord, right? But it has this note on it. Okay, so it's the dominant chord can be a little tricky because it's a major chord, but it just has one little extra color note. And a dominant chord is used a lot of time in blues, a lot of time in funk and soul, especially old time like R&B, that kind of thing. Hold On, I'm Coming. That song. So that's like, think like dominant chord. So I am going to. So Sonia is saying it's a minor. So it is not a minor. I'm going to keep moving on this one. This is a dominant chord. And it's okay, because the reason it's a dominant chord is because we have this major, and then we have this note on top. But we're gonna keep moving, okay? Because you don't always have to get 100%. That's what this is all about. Okay, I want you to identify which major chord this is. So every chord I'm going to play from now on is going to be a major chord. And you're going to let me know which major chord it is. What major chord is that? Again, I don't want just Sonia answering. We got some other people in this chat. So grab your guitar. And this is for you guys too. This is we're really, really learning how to hear songs that we hear on the radio or on Spotify, and we're going to start to be able to identify it and how to play that. So which major chord is this? If you're struggling to understand this, try to identify the lowest note in this chord. And if it just sounds like one cluster, here, I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to play it low to high. So try to identify the low note. Try to identify the low note. Find that on the guitar. And that will be the chord. It's a major chord. Piano's a little out of tune, as in a little, a lot. All right, who can identify it? What major chord is that? Again, this is for you guys, so If you want to have a guitar out, figuring this out with me, because this is it's so rewarding when you're able to hear a song on the radio and just like play it back. It's something I never thought I could do ever in a million years, and here I am, able to do that. So again, it's just through repetition, time, and like practice like this. I wish times a million that somebody was, teaching me ear training like this when I was growing up. So yeah, take advantage. All right, Sonia says she can, but she won't say it because we have other people here. So chime in. You might be at work. You might be having me in like a little minimized screen so your boss doesn't see. And if that's the case, I totally get it. But yeah, let me know what chord this is. I'm not gonna move on. I'm not gonna give you the answer either. If nobody really chimes in, this is gonna be a thing that just gonna leave it out there, and we'll see who comments on it. At like 16 minutes 20 seconds, we'll have the comment section open, because it doesn't really do you any good if I just give you the answer. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. Take just a moment to say thank you, and welcome to this channel. I'm Alec here at Soulful Guitar Lessons, and yeah, we're really teaching intermediate, advanced players how to be ready for, to be working musicians, working guitar players, studio, tour grade musicians. So this is one of the steps that's necessary in order to just really have that extra, extra pizzazz, that extra sauce to be able to play with the best of them. And if you're curious, you want to know more about my process and just invest a little more in yourself, I have a free masterclass as well. It's just in the description, completely free if you want to check it out. Yeah. And also, if you're watching this, give this video a thumbs up. I am not going to give you the answer for that chord. I'm just going to move on. Now I'm going to do a dominant chord, okay? I'm going to play a dominant chord, and you're going to let me know what dominant chord this is, all right? I want you to figure this out. So it sounds like this. And if it just sounds like a cluster of notes, you're like, okay, what is going on? Identify the lowest note first, and I'll play it for you. I'll spell it out. So here's the low note, and here's the rest of the chord, okay? And I'm not going to give you these answers. We really need folks chiming in the chat for you to get the most value and just really understand what's going on, so you can better yourself at this stuff. So here's the chord. So let me know what it is. I can wait here. Again, I was telling a story in the intro while I wait. I have terrible posture right now. I'm gonna back this chair up. I was telling a story in the intro, like when I was first starting guitar, I really wanted to learn this Third Eye Blind song. They're a popular 90s band, and I had a guitar teacher, and I asked him, how do I play this song? It sounds so complicated. He goes home, he comes back, and he has the song, and he just listened to it and learned it. I was like, that sounds like a miracle. Like, how did you do that? Well, lo and behold, it was just 3 very simple chords, G, C, and D. And I was like, there's no way I'll be able to do that. Like, if I can do that, it'll take me forever. And I was doubting myself essentially. And now come, a decade later, I'm able to identify basically any chord or very complex chord progression thrown my way. And all that to say is it's a learned thing. I'm here to teach it to you. And it is not something you're born with. Very few people are. You have to be like a virtuoso prodigy to be born with that kind of skill. But it's something that you can learn. It's just a thing that where you practice it and you mess up and you come back, you pick yourself up and you try again. And I want to teach this to you. I want to teach the skill to you. I'm teaching the skills to you currently. And the goal is, you're out at a gig, or you are listening to the radio, you're listening to Spotify, you hear a song that comes on and you love this song, you love this OJ song, you love this Led Zeppelin song, you love this Pink Floyd song, and you're able to play it back in real time. You hear the chords and you play it back. Now, this doesn't come innately to basically anyone. This is a learned skill. And by working together like this on ear training, we're able to identify some of these, pick out some of these nuggets, and we're gonna strengthen our listening muscles essentially, so that when time comes to actually hear a song and play it back, we are equipped to do that. Because it's not just all of a sudden boom, you can do it. It's a learned thing. So all right, I'm gonna play a chord. We got a couple chords that are still in question. So I'll leave that for the comment section. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to play a chord progression now. And I want you to identify what chords are happening, okay? So I'm going to scoot this chair forward. So what chords are happening here? So what chords are these? So, what's going on here? First thing I'm listening for, to break it down how I would, if I wasn't playing this and I was just listening, first thing I listen for is the bass. What is the bass doing? Okay? So, what is the bass doing? And I'll just break it down right here. That's what the bass is doing. Okay, so that's the first thing I listen for, and I try to find those notes on the guitar. The second thing I'd listen for is of those chords, of those bass notes, are they major, minor, or dominant? Right? That's what I'd be listening for. So is this first chord, is that a major chord? Is this second chord a major chord? Minor chord, dominant? Is this third chord major, minor, dominant? Okay, that's what I'd be listening for. And I try to match all the chords on your guitar. This is a thing that takes time, it takes effort, but I promise you it is literally the most rewarding thing in the world to just be able to hear something and play it back. But again, if you're not new to this, if you're not familiar with this, this is a skill, this is a muscle that you can learn. I learned it, you can learn it, and I'm teaching it to you right now. Ooh. Yeah. So these are the chords. Ooh, this pedal is loud. So anyways, I'm gonna leave this for the chat. Let me know what chord progression this is. Let me know in the comments section, in the chat, or whatever. I'm gonna do one more. Just for fun. Same method is I'm gonna play a chord progression, and you're gonna try to identify what chords are happening. Just as simple as I'm gonna try to do as simple as possible. Okay, that's my first chord. Here's my next chord. So first chord, second chord. Okay, what am I listening for? How do we break this down? If it just sounds like a wall of nothingness that's impossible to identify, here's how I interpret it. First, identify the low note. So, we got a few more people coming in, so welcome to the chat. We're doing ear training today. Grab your guitar and follow along with me and try to identify what's happening. So I'm playing these chords. It's my first chord, here's my second chord. Now, if it sounds like a wall of sound, find the lowest note, okay? I'm playing the lowest note. I'm helping you out, I'm giving a little cheat code. And then here's the next lowest for the next chord. Okay. So now we have our two lowest chords. Or two lowest notes. And then we're going to identify, are each of these chords major, minor, or dominant? leave this for the chat because it doesn't mean, I already know the answer, so it doesn't mean no good to answer my own question. You know, this is for you guys. So with that, we are leaving the ear training part of this live stream. Again, this is a skill that you can learn. I learned it. I was not born with this. Despite what you see on the internet, these crazy kids, virtuosos. No, most of us, we got to learn this stuff. So that's what we're doing here. Yeah, let me know if this is helpful. Give me a thumbs up if this is, like this video, if this has been helpful. And right now we're just going to launch into the Q&A part of our live stream like we do every week. We have like a little topic and then we go into a Q&A. So right now I want to hear, what your guys' name is, how long you've been playing the guitar, some of your struggles on the guitar, some of your favorite records you've been listening to, some of your favorite guitar players, what kind of guitar you have, all that stuff, where you live in the world, what time is it? I want to learn about you guys. Essentially, this channel is for you to grow as guitar players, as musicians, as people, investing in yourself, bettering yourself, so that you can just express yourself in any way you want, express yourself to the fullest. So, no problem, Sonia. So, and maybe I'll just write this in the chat so you can, I'll pin it to the chat, your name, where you're from, all that fun stuff. I'm gonna write that in there. That's fun. Let's see if I can figure that out. All right. So, if you guys are just new, say what's up in the chat. Tell me your name, where you're from, how long you've been playing, what kind of guitar you have, some of your struggles. Because right now we got some quiet people in the chat. We got some timid people, and that's okay. But it's just a little more fun when we're all hanging out here together, interacting. So. I have this piano set on mute. It hasn't been tuned in 20 years. Sounds kind of crazy. So we might have a quiet group today, and that's okay. But yeah, if you guys don't have any questions, or you might be at work having this chat in the corner, or this live stream happening in the corner, and you don't want your boss to see, that's totally okay. But if that's the case, I appreciate everyone tuning in here. But I will probably log off for the day. I'm gonna give this another minute or two, see if anyone has any questions. Yeah, just let it run just a little bit longer. So. Sonia is saying, she's from California, ear training is your biggest opportunity for growth. For ear training, do you recommend starting with hearing chords first or records? Okay, so the best way to do this is like this. When there's a teacher, there's somebody else that knows the answers one-on-one, because if you're listening to a record, you're not really sure if if what you're playing is actually correct. You don't have like a higher authority. It's just kind of your own ear. So if you have someone that is more skilled at an instrument, they would be the default. Like they'd be the kind of thing I would check against. So that's why I'm doing this, is to build up your ear training, because essentially I have the answers, and it's kind of helpful, like as you guys, as students and people that are learning, to be able to check your answers against like a syllabus, against somebody that actually knows, rather than just being like, oh, I think this is okay. So the best way to practice this is to get a teacher. Oh, lo and behold, here I am. So that's how you practice it. And I'll be coming on a lot more to do more ear training, because this is something that no one on YouTube really teaches. I think it's a huge gap in the learning. People want to teach you how to play songs, and which is great. This is all great. People want to teach you how to do all this stuff, and that's all fine and good. You should learn how to play songs, and it's fun if you have an extra 20 minutes to pull up a song and learn a little ditty. But if you really want to learn how music works, like really understand the DNA of things, most of music hasn't been written down. It's all call and response. The only reason classical music was written down, even in the first place, is just so they could repeat it. But most of classical music was improv, and the stuff that we hear, the stuff that's written down, our today's version where we hear classical and we think, oh, that's written music. It was really a lot of improv stuff, and it's just codified, and just like, it was just written down so that there's a version that exists. Same with jazz. All that stuff was oral. It was passed down, and blues, hymns, all that stuff is eared. So the more you can get away from having to rely on sheet music, tabs, paper music, the better shape you will be in as an overall musician. You still got to learn how to read tabs. You still got to learn how to read music. But at the end of the day, if your ears are up to speed, you are going to be set. You are going to be so set. So yeah, we kind of have a quieter crowd today, and that's totally okay. I'm going to sign off for the day. So thank you guys all for watching, for being involved. Go ahead and if you're just tuning in, give this video a thumbs up. If you want to learn more about how to play soulfully, I have a free masterclass in the description. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, but thanks so much for being a part of Soulful Guitar Lessons. I go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and I also have a like a high quality video that comes out every Tuesday. So anytime you have a question, anytime you have, you're kind of scratching your head about something music or guitar related, I am here for you every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Come back, give me your questions, give me anything you've been working on for the week. I want to hear about it. I want to help. I want to make you guys just machines. I want to make you guys like the best guitar players out there. I want to make you guys the best versions of yourself there is to be. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this channel, and I will see you next week, same time, different place though. I'll be back in Los Angeles. All right, take care, guys.